Right, Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, that will well and Shalom to the argument pushing this word around the globe in truth and in sincerity. As always, I'd like to start by saying we are the real Hebrew Israelites, the real Israelites, these so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, West Indians, and West Africans. However, you are going to get Israelites that do look like the other nations because Israel has been scattered amongst all people throughout our various captivities. But if your seed line by your forefathers goes back to the man in the Bible that was named Jacob, then you too are an Israelite no matter what you look like, because Numbers chapter 1 verse 18 states that your nationality is determined by the lineage of your forefathers. So this is the Daily Mail article I'm going to read here. This is published when 7th of December, so I believe that was yesterday. So it says, human rights group Liberty Fair's COVID immunity cards will pave way for national ID system and a two-tier country where only some have full freedom amid concerns of black market in fake documents. Now this is very interesting because they're going to be using this COVID card, and as you can see, it's a very basic looking card, and what one of the arguments people are saying is that, oh, anybody can fake it. Now I think this is intentional by design, because what they really want to do is move people to a digital identification system, which falls in line with the mark of the beast spoken of in Revelation chapter 13 verse 16. So they're doing this first, and I think they've done it intentionally so that they can get people complaining about, oh, it's too easy for people to just copy and print at home or forge it, and that'll lead them, give them an avenue with which to promote the implantable RFID microchip. Now, before I walk, let me establish the tone of this lesson by reading the article, because I've kind of given the plot away there at the start of it, but let's just read through it, yeah? So it says, ID cards will be handed out to every Briton after they receive their COVID-19 vaccine in the coming months. Card warns, make sure to keep this card in your purse or wallet, but government denies it's a passport. Advocacy group Liberty fears those without the card could be blocked from accessing essential public services. Others fear there could be a black market in fakes if pubs, theatres and restaurants demand to see them. So it says Boris Johnson's COVID-19 vaccination card could pave the way for a full national ID system while creating a two-tier country where some Britons have freedom but those without immunity are shut out, a leading human rights group has claimed. Advocacy group Liberty fear that people without the card could be blocked from accessing essential public services, work or housing, with the most marginalised among us being hit the hardest. Every Briton will be handed a card proving they have received the sought-after coronavirus jab and urged to keep it with them at all times. But the cards have been widely criticised, with many fearing that they could create a black market in fakes if pubs, theatres, restaurants demand to see them. Others have accused the government of bringing in an immunity passport by stealth. Number 10 has denied any plans for a UK vaccination passport, but businesses including airline Qantas have already said they will give preferential treatment to anyone who has had the jab and can prove it. Liberty's advocacy director Gary Collier told Mail Online we should all be able to live our lives free from unnecessary interference, but immunity cards risk creating a two-tier system in which some of us have access to freedoms and support while others are shut out. Suggestions people must carry cards on them could raise questions about whether we could be asked to use them to prove immunity. Beyond that, it's unclear what they're for. Once cards like these have been created, it would be easy for their use to be extended so that they could be used like an immunity passport. This could result in people who don't have a card potentially being blocked from essential public services, work or housing, with the most marginalised among us hardest hit. This has a wider implication too, because any form of immunity passport could pave the way for a full ID system. And that's the point right there. An idea which has repeatedly been rejected as incompatible with building a rights respecting society. We have always supported proportionate actions to protect lives, but that must not come at the expense of our rights and freedoms. Mail Online has asked NHS England, which is managing the vaccine rollout, whether it will be mandatory to carry the card. They are yet to respond. The concerns over the new ID card came as got to jump down quite a bit here to continue that. The government, there's the card on the screen there. The government is asking people to carry a card that could be faked with a scanner and a decent printer, critics said today. Downing Street denies the government is bringing in an immunity passport by stealth, insisting that it is a reminder for people to get a second jab for 95% immunity. But Foreign Office Minister James Cleverly said the vaccine and card will unlock normal life for Britons. He said he hoped it would not be a ticket to enter pubs or sporting events, as it was claimed businesses may ask to see proof of vaccination in return for entry. Critics have said the NHS vaccination card is easy to fake because there is no photo. Many pointed out that a quality colour printer could produce something similar. So you see what I'm saying here? They've made it easily forgeable because they want to move people into the implantable RFID microchip system spoken of in Revelation chapter 13 verses 15 on down. One critic said a piece of paper is not going to be enough. Massively open to fraud. Why aren't they making this digital? I rest my case, man. Let me read that again. One critic said a piece of paper is not going to be enough. Massively open to fraud. Why aren't they making this digital? Another tweeted, well, it looks like a card you can do it with your printer at home. One Twitter user wrote, will be on eBay in hours. Ex-Minister Sir Desmond Swayne has told Mail Online that the UK's vaccination ID card could be construed as a message to Britons that they will be able to have access to your civil liberties if you behave in a way that we require by having the vaccine. He said that this is coercion, adding to his concerns that people will end up faking documents to be able to live normally. Former Brexit Secretary David Davis warned, this sounds altogether too much like a freedom pass. In Britain, the citizens don't hold their freedom by the desperation. Let me start this again. The former Brexit Secretary David Davis warned, this sounds altogether too much like a freedom pass. In Britain, the citizens don't hold their freedom by the dispensation of the state. It came as Downing Street sought to diffuse the row by claiming the cards is a simple reminder to get a second jab so the vaccine is more effective. This is not a form of immunity passport. The Prime Minister's spokesman said, the cards are NHS reminder cards that prompt people to get the second dose that they need. This is a well-established practice in the NHS to offer people cards to remind them of their next appointment. This morning, Foreign Office Minister James Cleverly suggested differently, as he said millions of people in the UK will have their lives unlocked by having the coronavirus jab with a card to prove it. When asked if the cards were passports by another name, Mr. Cleverly repeatedly dodged the question, but told Sky News that he hoped that they would not be required as a ticket to get into pubs, restaurants or sporting events. He added, ultimately it's about unlocking people's lives and the economy. Critics have said the proof of vaccination cards appear easy to fake, with one saying, no photo, no details, what could possibly go wrong? Another tweeted, not long until they are all ready to buy on the internet for self-completion. Literally just a cardboard card, no security or anything. Tory former Minister David Jones believes the government needs to make clear that the UK card must not be used to stop people living their lives, and if necessary, Boris Johnson should legislate to ensure that is the case. He told Mail Online it should be an entirely free decision to carry a card. I think people should be vaccinated, but I don't think they should be influenced by whether they can get into a restaurant or get into a theatre. That is the danger of having things like this. People may well be told you can't come in unless you produce your card. I don't think that's right. One way to legislate would be to make it illegal to discriminate against someone based on whether they have had the vaccine, or ministers could clarify in existing coronavirus regulations that businesses do not have the right to see the cards as they are medical records. Critics fear the cards are a huge step towards the immunity passport the government has vehemently denied it wants to bring in. Questions also remain about the need for the COVID-19 card when they are not standard with the flu jab, for example. Today, official images reveal the card patients will receive to prove they have received the jab. It's lucky I read that again. Today, official images reveal the card patients will receive to prove that they have received the jab. It will be handed out in every case in a large bold font on the front. It warns those with one to make sure you keep this card in your purse or wallet. Images have now been shared of a card patients will receive to prove they have received the jab, which has proved to be 95% effective in cases and offers up to 6 months of immunity. The card contains space to detail the name of the vaccine, its batch number, and the date it was injected. There is a space for a second date as the Pfizer jab requires 2 vaccinations. It is not clear if the cards are mandatory or part of Immunity Passport, which has been touted as a solution to help to support the hospitality industry as it reopens. Michael Gove dismissed the notion, telling Sky News that's not being planned. I certainly am not planning to introduce any vaccine passports, and I don't know anyone else who in the government who is. Man, it's a long ass article, man, but let's keep going. UK Health Minister Nadim Zahawi said restaurants and bars could ask for some proof of vaccination. He told the BBC, I think you'll probably find that restaurants and bars and cinemas and other venues, sports venues, will probably use that system. Fears that the people would miss out on the first wave of immunisation because of short supplies were raised last week after the government announced just 800,000 doses of the Pfizer jab had been sent to the UK. The NHS bosses looked to quash concerns yesterday with Saffron Cordy, the Deputy CEO of NHS providers, assuring the public that the country was expecting up to 4 million doses by the end of December. See, that's what their thing is. You know, they're creating a false supply and demand situation where they're making it out as if they haven't got enough jabs for people, so then people are all the more hasty to get it because they think, well, I want to get one before it runs out. You know, it's all psychological psyops and mind games, man. Let's keep going. It says, she told Sky's Sophie Ridge on Sunday, we know that the first batch of 800,000 is making its way to the country now. We know that many of the 50 hospital hubs up and down the country have already received their allocation and more is expected today, so we know that the consignment is here. We are expecting in the low millions, so up to 4 million doses to be with us by the end of December. So that consignment and that distribution is really well on the way now. And that's the end of the article. But it's not the end of the drama. No. Actually, it's not the end of the article, man. This thing goes on and on. I've read enough of this shit, man. Boy, who believed this article goes on and on? Anyway, so the point of the matter is this. Leviticus chapter 19, verse 28. Ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am Yahweh. Read that again. Leviticus chapter 19, verse 28. Ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am Yahweh. Jump into Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. Now reading from 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many who would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Now, anybody who's got their eyes open can see that this is where this is leading to. There's no denying it anymore. There's no, it's June, ain't no microchip nonsense anymore. You can't get away with that shit anymore, because even the people in the world are waking up to the fact that this shit is going down. And this has always been the plan. They can't hide it anymore, because Revelation 12:12 states, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time." So these elites, all you prime ministers and you elites behind the scenes in the government, that you've got a short time. You elites of the nation of Esau and all the nations that are confederate with you, you've got a short time, because Yahushua is coming back. So you've got to push this thing faster than ever. So you do what you got to do, because the faster you push it, the faster the hopeful elect will see their salvation. The hopeful elect of the nation of Israel, the 144,000 from the 12 tribes, and the 1/3 of Israel that will be saved with them. Lord willing, I'll be worthy to be of that number. But yeah, so that's the lesson. Giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakodash, double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone that will well, and shalom to Arki and pushing this word in faith and with truth and with sincerity. And until the next lesson, Lord willing, I say shalom.